Okay, so we're in the Apple River marsh.
And that's a salt marsh drainage creek that ran along the edge of the mill pond dike wall.
Okay.
And at one point there would have to be an abattoir, and possibly that allowed salt water in to make the mill pond an actual tide mill, if the interior of the mill pond was a couple of feet lower than it is now.
Yeah. So you're not really certain whether it was a tidal pond or whether it was fed by fresh water.
Yes.
You're not certain?
Yes, because this marsh up here, the top of it, is only covered a few days each month.
Yeah.
Where they operated the tide mill for, I think, 3 months of the year.
Yeah.
To operate the mill for 3 months of the year.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sweeping along here. So what are we looking at straight ahead
You're
here?
looking at the remains of the steam mill.
Right here, like straight ahead here?
Straight ahead.
Yeah. And just comment on the steam mill then?
And I think I'd have good documentation that that marsh was all the way out to where we're standing now.
Okay. But what's the story with the little bit of the story of the steam mill?
It was started by the son-in-law of the man who owned the water mill.
Okay.
The water mill was operating in 1871 according to the industrial section of the 1871 census.
Yeah.
And I think the steam mill was built shortly after that. The boiler blew up at one point, and then by the 1890s...
So the steam mill was like a new technology or something, was it, at the time?
As a rotary saw.
Yeah.
Usually. And it's driven by a steam engine.
And how do you know that was the steam mill?
From...
Like that particular site?
There was a newspaper article written at the time of the explosion.
Okay.
And I believe I have another document as well. I can't recall it at the moment. You have to be very cautious about newspaper articles, unless they're written at the time of the event.
Yeah.
And steam mill technology really just started coming in for sawmills in the 1870s, according to the book Steam Power by Robinson.
So as we sweep off to the right here, what am I looking at?
You're looking at the remains of the base of the steam mill.
Over here, like straight ahead over there.
Just this wooden part starting right there and running over to there. And there are some slabs from the steam mill.
Oh, okay, so these are slabs here from the steam mill.
Slabs from the logs.
Okay. But over there, where the big pieces are sticking out, that's where the actual...
That's where it actually was.
Okay.
And this first piece, they had to build a dike across there to limit the range of the mill pond.
Yeah.
In order to have a space to build the...
Okay.
Well, actually, there's a deed saying that the son-in-law of the water mill owner has the right to build a steam mill.
Yeah.
And use the mill pond that was built for the water mill.
So where was the water mill, Kerr?
No, it's over there.
I mean further down?
Further down.
You can't see it from here?
See the other drainage?
You can just see it?
I don't know if you can tell with all that grass, but that's the drainage creek. Remember, I was down.
Yeah.
So from there to the right.
Okay, so I got it over here. Well, we'll go over there afterwards. That's where the
water mill.
That's where the water mill was. And when was that built?
Pardon?
When was that built?
That I don't know. I just know it was operating in 1871 because of the 1871 industrial section of the census.
Okay. Okay.
And it's sometime beginning in the 1870s that steam power was used to drive the mills. And
so Kerr, on the high tide today, where we're standing, how high would the tide come up on us? Like to our chest?
Looking around for a marker.
Today?
For today.
Well, roughly, just make a guess. I'm trying to...
It might cover those sticks.
Okay. And then on a really high tide, like the extreme... We'll go right above.
Goes right above, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's an old dike the remains of an old dike over there. I think
Where's that?
you can see that higher part.
Oh, okay, over there.
I think that's now covered by the highest.
So would that have been built earlier than the ones?
That could be built early in the 1800s.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay, go back there, right?
And the mill pond covered all of the marsh right until that's the top of it. Another mill pond dike wall.
Oh, right there. Okay, no, that's good.
There.
And then these structures coming out here were what?
And the two mill pond arms, as we can see from aerial photographs.
And what do you mean by the mill pond arms?
They defined the mill pond that held the water to drive,
Yeah.
to float the logs and and drive the water wheel.
So what are you saying about them then?
They merged right here,
Merged here?
right across there, where you see the sort of starting from that
Yeah.
drainage creek, going up almost to that crib work.
Okay.
And there's a new
And straight across here.
there's a new conduit just emerging right there.
What is that again?
I'm calling it a conduit, but it's 14 inches.
You mean that big piece there?
Big piece. There's
Oh,
another
okay.
big piece inside, so that delivered water.
Okay, and then what are we looking at?
And then with this crib work,
Yeah.
that's the beginning of whatever housed the building with that held the saw carriage and the up and down saw,
Okay.
and it extends down the river probably about 80 feet,
The whole structure.
the whole structure. And it seems to consist of 3 parts, and those of us who are working on it have a hard time explaining why it had these 3 parts.
Yeah.
They're all just appear to be the same elevation, so there can't be floor that fell in.
Yeah. So where is it we're going in underwater? Can you point to
Right
it?
here.
Right there. And what are we looking for there?
Last winter's storms and current removed a lot of gravel.
Yeah.
So now there are big timbers that we could never see before.
They're underwater
They're
there.
underwater.
But they've fallen in or they're in place?
They're in place. I think that's the basic structure of
They're still in
they're
place.
still in place.
And you're just saying that the overlying sediment and stuff is washed away from it.
It's washed away.
Okay.
And I don't know if the mill structure was on the edge of the river or if that drainage creek came out and the mouth of it was down there.
Yeah. And this mill, it was taking lumber from the local area?
The owners, the Elderkin family, owned
Yeah.
several thousand acres.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's the Elderkins. That's interesting.
And the Elderkin family goes back to Lynn, Massachusetts. And the first Elderkin was a millwright.
Yeah.
And the millwright's training must have been extensive enough because they have documentation at the University of Pennsylvania that he built not only mills but also churches and other buildings.
So they settled originally in Massachusetts, you're saying, and then came up here?
Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Last winter storms gouged out quite a hole in front of that crib work
Yeah.
and exposed large timbers that formed the base of the mill.
So here are these structures Kerr was just measuring. They've been exposed by the marsh falling away. Okay, so the water wheel, where you found it originally, was at the end of this crib work, where I'm looking right now. And when was it last there, Kerr? That was 2 years ago?
I noticed it in 2011.
Oh, okay. And then it got washed out.
And 2012, it was washed to the other side of the river.
Okay, and then eventually you found it again. So, what are we looking at here, Kerr? And that's what's washed downstream? You said right here?
There's a compass arm water wheel.
Okay.
The arms only come out about this far.
Okay.
You see there's 1, 2, 3 rows of arms that stuck out.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see now. Yeah, okay. Huh.
And for some reason, they were all cut off.
You mean you think when they closed the mill or something, they cut them off, or what?
Or they may have attempted to run it with a steam engine.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Because on this end,
yeah,
there was a disc, and that's been knocked off.
You mean you saw the disc before?
Yeah, and they have pictures of it.
Huh. So you've kind of secured this.
This I would like to say, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
It's heavy. One person can't
yeah.
handle it at all.
Yeah.
And that end's been split off.
Huh.
And that's a metal band that underneath of this is called a gudgeon.
Mm-hmm. Oops, I'm stirring it up here now because I'm upstream of it. So Kerr, why do you think this particular water wheel shaft, is that how you describe it?
Yeah, it's called a compass arm water wheel.
Why do you think it would be valuable to conserve it?
I guess because of its age, it was the first type that was used in North America.
So when would they have been used? Like when you say first type to be used?
Well, they started building in the 1600s and first part of the 1700s. This could have been built before 1800.
Huh.
But after 1800, well, maybe even the last part of the 1700s.
Yeah.
Commercial metal water wheels were available.
Okay.
These had to be replaced fairly often.
Yeah. But when do you think this might have been last functioning at this site?
Well, the 1871 census state that it was operating as a water mill.
At that time?
At that time. And at that time, Cumberland County only had 2 steam mills.
Okay.
Nova Scotia didn't have many. It was after that manufacturing firms made the steam engines, mass produced.
Yeah. And you said you tried to get permission to remove this?
Right, and I was told no unless I hire an archaeologist.
Unless you hire an archaeologist at quite a steep fee, right?
And I haven't met a North American archaeologist yet who's had experience with these types of mills.
Yeah. Huh. So you were saying that the ones that Oliver Evans described were for upland rivers,
Upland
basically.
river, yeah.
So this is on a salt marsh, which makes it
Right.
tidal marsh. Yeah.
There's some form of tide mill. There's
Yeah.
maybe some water delivered from the river.
Okay. So again, you're not sure how
You're
much.
not sure of anything. That's the problem.
Yeah, you're not sure how much of the water that was driving it was tidal water,
Right.
as opposed to water coming in from the freshwater
Yeah.
streams and so on.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess the advantage of a tidal mill in that sense would be that, like with fresh water, the flow is going to vary a lot different times a year. Does that make any difference?
No, you just had to have some way of filling the mill pond.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there is a mechanism that controls the flow rate of the water as well. So
Yeah.
part of that structure could be it.
Yeah.
But the Aldrichan family, if they came here as millwrights,
Yeah.
tie into the progenitor who built not only mills but also churches and other buildings.
Yeah. But they came from Massachusetts and then they settled here, did
They
they?
came from Connecticut because the
Oh, okay.
progenitor was Massachusetts for a while and Connecticut for a while.
Yeah.
There was a shortage of people who could build.
Huh.
And they come from a tradition of designer builders,
Yeah.
the early millwrights. And
So when did they come here?
they came here as planters.
No, when? No.
That's 1761, 62.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Dr. It's Dr. Canning from Apple River, interviewed by Dr. P from Halifax.